Looking good, looking good. Bada bing, just like that. Here we are. Triple T, a few minutes early because we can. And because we got lots to cover and catch up on and all the good stuff. So, as long as we're starting early, I will just do the introduction. My name is TJ Zebel. I like to call myself a professional problem solver, which I always have to follow up with, no, I don't know everything. I do not claim to know everything. I just have a unique way of asking lots of questions, and I've got a great tribe to pick brains from and get information, and I know how to use the internet. I'm not afraid to use it. But beyond that, I get to help people with really funky, cool stuff like depression, anxiety, phobias, PTSD, relationship challenges, money, belief systems challenges, all of the above. Let's see, what else? Triple T. I had somebody ask me what Triple T is. I realized I have not been saying that on here. Welcome to Triple T. It's just Triple T. No, it's Talk Time with TJ. Yes. And I also have a website, theTSWB.com. What is TSWB? I'm so glad you asked. Stands for Tall, Skinny White Boy. And has for many years. I don't care what you find when you Google it, because there's some answers on there that not me. So just take my word for it and just look for the TSWB. I do offer a free, yes, in free, as in no charge, all the above, 30-minute consultation. That is your time to spend with me, asking any questions you want to see if we are a fit. If we are, I'll let you know. If we are not a fit, I will let you know as well, and do my best to pair you up with the best person possible so that you can get the solutions that you are looking for. Let's see what else. It is time to introduce the tie of the week, because we didn't get one yesterday or last week. You didn't have a tie, did you? Yes. And by the way, thank you. Huge shout out to Lenora for taking over whilst I was out of the country with obviously poor signal. Did my best to check in, but so glad we set that up.
Yes, indeed. And thank you to everybody else who was here because they made it so much fun.
Awesome.
Totally.
So, the tie. Dun, dun, dun.
That's cute. I did not. So, see, I would have never guessed that with the 35 guesses I came out with. That was never going to be one of them. That's a great one.
Mickey under a light pole.
That is awesome. Love it.
Let's see. Any ahas, epiphanies, questions, expressions of gratitude beyond me for what has gone on since the last time we chitty chatted?
I have one.
Yeah.
I found out that I am confirmed to speak at HTL this summer.
Whoop, whoop.
Very excited. First time ever.
Very cool.
Very cool.
There's
Congrats.
the man, the myth, the Michael, and ferocious guard dogs on the side.
How's he feeling? How's she feeling, rather? You're on mute. We're missing all of it.
There we go. She's really skinny. So, but she ate some chicken today, so this is good. So
That is
Right
very
on.
good to hear.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Are we ready for a super triple T and a relaxed TJ from Cancun?
Yeah, well, that's the fun part of coming back from the vacay. Because you're like, okay, what's been going on since I've been away? Oh, I've only got, apparently, none of my projects got completed while I was gone.
Those minions. Hey, you're so
Yeah,
lazy.
right?
Squirrels, honestly.
Yeah,
Well, we had a great stand-in, just so you know. Someone did a really good job.
that's what we were talking about. Any ahas, epiphanies, or takeaways from that session in the last 7 days? Come out of trance. You did them good. You got them all tranced out.
Do what I can.
Yes. Well, are we ready for? Oh, by the way, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time on YouTube, hi, Mom. Love you. My mom was out here and took care of the doggies and watched the property while we were gone. So really appreciate that. But for those of you, the rest of you watching on YouTube, please do all the YouTube stuff. Click the subscribe, ring the bell, leave lots of comments, and then leave comments on your comments and comment on other people's comments because, hey, I like the comments. I ain't going to lie. And there was something, man, we're just going to be winging it tonight, just being honest with you. There's
Lying by the seat of your pants.
going to be one of those nights. You know what? Let's just dive into the topics of the night. We got fixing or hearing, off the hook, and free will. Not to be confused with free willy. Free willy! But I might do a rendition of that later. Fixing or hearing. This came from an Instagram reel that I found quite interesting because the way they set it up was if you didn't watch it all the way through, some of you ladies may have been offended. It was a study in which they took a number of infants, even number of boys and girls, and they separated them from their mother with a barrier in between the two. And what they found was the female infants would get to the barrier and start crying. And if that didn't solve it, they would cry a little louder. When the male infants, little boys, would get to the barrier, what did they do? They figured out a way to get over it, under it, around it. And a lot of them were laughing while they were doing it. Now, here's the part where some of the ladies be like, okay, what are you trying to say? Huh? What they came up with was boys, men, from early on want to fix situations. Women want to be heard. And I'd heard this concept a number of times because it took me a while to learn that concept because I'm a fixer. Have been since I was born. Ask my mom. Even when I was in the crib, I wasn't OCD, I was CDO because that's alphabetical the way it should be. My mother was very wise, beyond her years, me being the first infant, and she realized that I could go through 3 to 4 bottles of milk a night, which meant she had 2 options. She could either not get hardly any sleep at night, or she could put 3 or 4 bottles of milk in my crib. She was smart and quickly found out that I, being CDO, would start with the full bottles over here, and in the morning when she showed up, they weren't strewn all over the crib. The empty bottles were over here because I was a fixer and CDO that early. But when I'm dealing with clients, especially in relationship stuff, it dawned on me the difference between my sessions with men and my sessions with women. When I'm dealing with men, we typically are like, the men will be like, okay, here's what I'm dealing with, here's the problem. Bam, straight into, let's get it fixed. Typically, the ladies will want to talk for at least the first 15, 20, 25 minutes. And it took me a while to understand that I have to wait until they are ready for me to offer solutions. And especially when you're not in a session, it took me quite a while in my relationships to understand that if a partner brings up part of an issue during the day, they don't necessarily want me to offer solutions. In fact, they would get very frustrated when I would start offering solutions, which, being a dude, I'm like, but why are you telling me if you don't want it fixed? Because they just wanted to be heard. Bing. And so I've learned, not as well as I should, but I'm working on it quite a bit, that when a woman starts telling you about their issues or their day, as a guy, this is to help you guys out there, a good question to ask is, do you want me to help you fix it, or do you just want me to be quiet and listen? You'd be amazed how many times they're like, just listen. I can do that. In fact, if you let me crack a refreshment, I can do that really well. I will just sit here and let you tell me about your day. And ladies, do the guys a favor. Give us a cue as to when you would like some feedback. Because we can sit there and yep, guys don't, learn echo talk. Even if all it is pause fill. Just do a little pause fill. Let them know that you are still tuned in. You're not thinking about the firing order on your Chevy V8 small block. You're actually listening to them. And when they have exhausted their words for the topic, you can ask them if they are open to any solutions or if they just wanted to be heard. Now we seem to be pretty well split, pretty well even here on the call right now. For those of you that are watching, we got 3 guys, 3 amazing women. Any input, ahas, validations, anything on this topic so far?
Yep. 100%. When I first got with my wife, I'm a problem solver, I'm a fixer, and she would tell me about these issues that she was having at her office, at her work, and I'm like, well, this is what you do. This is what. She said, I don't want to hear that. I'm like, well, then why are you putting this weight on my back?
There.
You know, if I can't fix it and you don't want help, I don't want to hear it. And so it's taken a lot of time, for me to deal with my stuff as well, because I've got to stay in a positive state with what I do. And now I can say, okay, she needs to hear this and I need to listen. Okay, I can do that. But 12, 13 years ago, I'm like, nope, stop with the negativity. Don't want to hear it. So.
Fully agree. And I'm not sure who's in line. Linda's got her hand up and everybody else was tossing up hands. So who wants to go first? Linda?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, a lot of times women figure out all the intricacies of the problem by talking about it. And women want to understand all the intricacies and all the ramifications and all the linkages. I think in general, guys really don't care about all of that. They just want to fix it.
Good insight.
So you can tell me if you agree or not. But and I think that yeah, it depends what side of the fence you're on. Maybe you fix it and it never happens again. But from my perspective, I always want to understand all the facets and get I don't know if you'd say global or but a really complete view of what happened, that's wrong, why it happened, what to do about it next time, perhaps even under, differing circumstances, yada, yada, yada. And for us, I think that's a big part of working the issue through and solving the problem, perhaps on a more permanent scale than a one-time thing.
Cool. Appreciate the insight.
You're welcome.
Now, Michael, we got other people, so I'm just messing with you. Who's gonna go on first? Come on. Otherwise, you guys got to toss up hands.
Rule of thumb: women don't want you to fix anything. Men want to fix. They want to. Problem comes up, they want to put it behind them. One guy opens up to another guy only when he can't fix the problem. My carburetor on my car is not working. And his friend, well, you got to do this, and this should be fine. And then he does those things, and carburetor's resolved. Problems resolved. And he's bonds. Hey, guy, that was. Thanks a lot, buddy. Really feel thank them profusely because he helped you fix it. But rule of thumb: women don't want you to fix anything. That I just had a couple session earlier today. That's what I was trying to explain today. She doesn't want you to fix it. She wants you to listen trying to tell you its story, but for years, and it took me a long time to learn this, that I would just, as a rule of thumb, just don't try to fix women. But then years went by and I realized woman will open up and she's already fixed it, but I had to go down the hallway and around the corner to realize she came up with 3 solutions and implemented the one that felt best, and she's already resolved the issue. Okay. But but you won't let her tell the whole story. You want to jump in and fix it right away. And then a woman's usually reaction when she comes home, she's complaining, this one at work is running me down to the boss. This one's trying to stab me in the back, and a kind, caring partner will be, well, you just should quit that job. Typical female reaction is, you're not listening. You won't let me tell the story, how I already resolved it. Okay. And guys just want to jump in and fix it and put it behind them. And, from a caring partner, they just want to help out. They want to fix stuff and then just move along. So, but I just had to explain that to a guy tonight that, rule of thumb is women don't want you to fix something. They just want to discuss it. They want to, and sometimes they want to tell you the story, how they fix it, but you won't let them get to the end of the friggin' story. So, like I said, but rule of thumb, guys want to fix stuff, but again, but women, totally different kettle of fish. They want to talk about it. Sometimes they've already come up with the solution, already implemented the solution, but guy won't let them get to the end of the story. So the typical response is, you're not listening.
Yep. All right. Michael.
Holly was ahead, but I'll just pop in real quick. I just wanted to comment with Linda. 2 nights ago, we had a little barbecue with the aunts of our little Cinder who's sick. And my wife's been putting it out there that she's looking to maybe change her career path and putting her resume in for a couple places. And she was telling the CFO lady, she says, I just don't qualify for this. I don't qualify for this. And the CFO, she said, that's the difference between women and men. You may only check 7 or 8 of the boxes and you don't think you qualify, where a man may only check 3 of the boxes and they're going to put their name in the hat. You would have got it. So put your name in the hat, and so it goes hand in hand with everything you're saying. And Linda was right there where they want to mark it all out. So cool.
Thank you. Holly.
Okay, so I got a lot of thoughts and I may be completely off base. We'll see. So first of all, I will say one of the things I've learned about this is I think we sometimes talk about it being men and women, but I think it's more masculine energy and feminine energy. And I've definitely seen cases where a man who's in his feminine energy, especially, is not going to be heard because people see him and they're like, you're a man. Why on earth would you have that problem? I've also seen women who've been in their masculine energy who are looking for a solution, and then they'll be surrounded by maybe other women who think they just want to be heard, and they're very frustrated because they can't get help solving their problem. But if it does help, just a couple things, and I could be completely off base here, like I said, but I kind of feel like if it helps men maybe feel a little bit better, sometimes it is solving a problem, but the problem may not be the problem you think you're solving. So often, first of all, I think women come to conclusions and solve problems a lot of times just because they need to talk through it. And just the simple act of being able to talk through it helps them see possibilities that weren't there before. And I'm sure that's true for men and women. But another thing, though, I think is very common when a woman just wants to be heard is either it's a situation of she's maybe feeling guilty about what she had to do, or maybe she's feeling like it was unfair and her needs aren't being seen, or, like the approval's not there. And so I can't get approval from my coworker. I can't ask for that at work, but maybe I could come home and my friends or my spouse or whoever it is can give me that validation that I'm not getting at work. So my spouse could tell me, you know what? I know you had to say that mean thing and I know it's bothering you, but you don't need to feel guilty. You did the right thing. Sometimes that's all somebody's looking for is that second set of ears to say, yeah, what you did is okay. Even though it's making you feel bad, what you did was the right decision. Or maybe it's the, yeah, okay, maybe somebody's treating you poorly at work, but I can see that that was unfair. Because, and I could be completely wrong on that, but I think a lot of it is, and then this is getting into, the big five personality Jordan Peterson talks a lot about. If you've got somebody who's high in neuroticism, who's a people pleaser, which tends to be traits that are more feminine, not always, but women have them in higher quantities than men do on average. Sometimes that personality just needs somebody to say, a second set of ears to say, yes, you drew a healthy boundary. You were right to do that. You're not some kind of evil person for doing it, if that makes sense. And the problem you're solving is not you need to draw a boundary. They already did that. The problem that you're solving is they're sitting there second guessing themselves for having drawn the boundary. Or maybe the problem is not necessarily that their coworker's treating them like crap. It's that they need somebody else to tell them, yeah, you didn't do wrong. Your coworker is just wrong in what they're saying to you. If that makes sense. I will say that a lot of time, and then the other thing I was going to say, I think the other reason sometimes you need to listen, this goes on both sides. Even if you want to fix the problem, you still need to listen first, because as we were discussing, maybe the problem that you actually need to solve is not the problem you think you need to solve at the beginning of the story. Or maybe the problem that you need to solve has already been solved and it's a completely different thing they're asking for help for. So, yeah, just some of my opinions on it. Like, I've been in both situations. I've been in situations where I absolutely wanted my problems fixed, and also problems where I just wanted to talk through it so I could find my own solutions or get that second set of somebody telling me, yeah, the solution you came up with does not make you an evil person. That's actually just you having healthy boundaries. So let's see what other people say about that.
Awesome stuff. And I know Lenora's been patiently waiting. All right, okay. She says, go ahead, Mark.
Well, what I found clinically is, it took me a long time, that you've got to get that rapport going, with the echo talk and things like that. Because I've tried to fix it with email clients the first session. I give them a journal because I didn't journal. And for the next session, they left the journal outside my door. This was years and years ago. Said, because they need that rapport, So I usually take 2 or 3 sessions, get to know the client. I don't try to offer any solutions until the rapport is firmly in place. And then I might say, well, what would you think about this? So, but I think with women, and this is what I've learned by screwing it up enough, that you need to feel like someone gets where they're coming from before any, solutions can be discussed. And that's just what I've found clinically. You got to get that rapport first. Again, because I was, like teacher, I wanted to jump in and fix my clients' problems right away, give them a tool. Works for guys, not so much.
Yep. Good stuff. Lenora.
This is quite the topic, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. For me, what I was going to pop in and say, which I'm loving all the insights from everybody. For me, very specifically, if somebody's trying to solve my problem, I used to. Now I'm very careful with who I share things with. So if I'm having something that's bothering me, it's usually not coming out to just anybody. And the people that it comes out to have earned the space to share their thoughts. And they probably also know that I'm what most everyday people would call a little bit sensitive, and that approaching me with tone is probably the most careful thing that people can do. I often would take it when people would try to tell me what to do is they were criticizing me, that what I was doing wasn't good enough and that they needed to tell me what to do because somebody had always been telling me what to do. So now I couldn't think for myself. And no matter every time I tried to, people were judging me, and it really wound up in that. So I found where I feel like all of these definitely are true. That was definitely my core thing, and I've gotten through that, which I'm very happy to report. And also now the people that are there to help me navigate my problems have earned the space to share, because now I'm sharing with them, and they often understand, like, oh, you want to talk about it? Okay. Those are
Good
my
stuff.
thoughts.
And I had, while you were saying that, one of the things that I learned is instead of offering solutions first, is asking them, so what solutions have you come up with so far? And I shared this with my wife, who was city manager when I first shared this, because as city manager, the employees and everything were bringing her so many issues that she couldn't get anything done. She was doing all of her city manager work at home, because most of her day was taken up by people bringing in, hey, we found this issue, we found this issue. So I finally taught her, when they come in with the issue, great. So what 3 solutions have you come up with so far, so that we're not duplicating efforts? And she said when she started doing that, people were like, yeah, we hired you for your brain, not just your body. What 3 solutions have you come up with? It doesn't mean that we're going to act on them immediately, or that you get to choose them in the field. But what have you come up with? If you've come up with a good one, I will pick one of the 3, and you can go, and we will have all of this taken care of in a minute and a half, not an hour and a half. And I've applied that with a lot of my female clients, is, so what solutions have you come up with? What do you think needs to be done? Oftentimes they have the answer. They just needed to talk it through with somebody that knows how to ask the right questions. And remind me about Bill Engvall after we hear from Holly. Holly.
I feel like I should have you. Well, I'll just say this. So I just wanted to do, like, second everything Lenora just said. It just kind of had some ideas pop into my head too. And what TJ said, by the way, is also a great response. I'll also throw this too. Like, I don't think it's just on the men to always know how to respond to women. Like, as a woman, one of the things I try to do is, if I want somebody to listen to me, I know who in my group just wants to listen. And if I want something fixed, I know who in my group wants to fix. So I try to go to the person I know is going to give me the response that helps the most. But that aside, first of all, often when I talk through something, I am testing to see if the person is going to earn the right to give me feedback. If they're not even willing to listen to me for 2 seconds, chances are they're not going to give me very good feedback. Now, of course, if somebody's earned that right a million times before, they might not need to. They know my situation really, really well. They only need to know a couple words, and they're going to be there. But also that criticizing thing, I hadn't really ever realized it before till Lenora was talking about it. But for instance, if I'm going to somebody and say a coworker has been a jerk to me for a very long time, and I have decided I'm going to report them to the manager, but I feel horrible about that decision, and I'm wondering, is this disproportionate? Is it whatever? And so I'm going to somebody to just basically get feedback of, is reporting them to the manager the right move? And before I even get to that point, somebody tells me, well, you should just quit your job. The first thing I think is, criticism, my response isn't the right one because they've already got a different response. And that's the one they think is the only response. So often it is I never even thought about that before, but it's I had a very distinct reason why I was having the conversation, and I was trying to get feedback on a specific course of action. And by mentioning the other one, I immediately go to, oh crap, my response must not be the right one. So I just thought that was really interesting.
That's why communication and studying communication and improving communication and constantly working on communication is an amazing lifelong study. Linda.
There's another aspect that you might want to consider, and that is that women operate in a much more social and egalitarian structure than men do. And women, it's very important to women that the other women agree that she is doing the right thing, made the right decision, yada, yada. So commonly what will happen is that not only is that decision really important, but if that decision is the wrong decision, there can be all kinds of ramifications, including, if somebody gets their feelings hurt, and then there's retribution and character assassination and da 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 da. I think men have a tendency to go, well, you didn't get that one right, and forget about it and just sort of move on. Men accept bad decisions and mistakes with a lot more copacetic attitude. I also believe, and I could be wrong about this, that I have experienced situations where it seems like men feel it's appropriate to criticize women when they would not criticize other men. And it's like a power thing. It's like they just kind of feel the need to, I don't know that it's necessarily punching down. Sometimes I think it's paternalistic. Sometimes I think they want to, just get in there and help or whatever it is. But I think that both men and women treat the situation very differently when women make mistakes as opposed to when men make mistakes.
Good insight. Good stuff to ponder. We're hitting it tonight. Michael. Oh, okay. Hold
Is
on.
anybody going to tell him?
Hold
There you
on.
go. I
Just,
got it. I was
there we
having
go.
trouble with my phone would get moving the buttons. Don't criticize me. I'm trying.
I
I'm
know,
doing the
that's why
best
I'm
I can.
laughing.
Crazy. So I had a psychology professor a long, long, long time ago. And first of all, Linda, man, for people who want to criticize women over criticizing men or criticizing anybody, dude, that's just crazy talk. And so it kind of goes hand in hand with this psychology professor. He's like, when you have somebody who's criticizing and they're just trying to teach you, they must have been taught themselves a lot, instead of trying to find a way to learn for yourself. I'm going to teach you this lesson. Does that make sense? That resonate with anybody?
Very much so. I could see that for sure. Rather than share. I think there's a difference between teaching and teaching.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Kind of crazy.
And I was going to segue off of something that Linda has said, which is why I asked you guys to remind me about Bill Engvall, the Here's Your Sign comedian. He told a story that was just, it hit me about the difference between guy talk and girl talk. And guys, we oftentimes will get just enough information to know what's going on, and we're good. And you ladies, and this is not a slam, I promise, but there are some things where you want as much information and detail as possible so that you can understand what was going on. And the story that he told was he came home one day and he goes, "Oh, I just heard that Bob and Sue are getting a divorce." And his wife was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? What's going on?" He goes, "They're getting a divorce." "Yeah, but why? What's going on? What happened?" He goes, So, well, you didn't ask? No, I got all the information I needed getting a divorce. 2 days later, the wife comes home and goes, huh, finally got it. Well, you see, back when Bob was in elementary school, he met this lady. He had a classmate, and she was kind of cute, you know. And then they parted, you know, and they lost track of each other, and that, you know. And she's got the whole history, and she tells the whole history, and her husband goes, "So they're getting a divorce?" Well, yeah. Yep. That was the information I needed. Well, that was for both sides, because sometimes we have to understand that when you ladies get frustrated because we didn't find out that Bob had a classmate in third grade that he ran into, we're doing guy talk. And when you ladies come in with that information, please understand, we're waiting for the end product. Oh, they're getting divorced. Okay, now I can go back to fixing the fridge.
We do like our details. At least I know I do.
Well, fixing her hearing has turned into a 30-minute topic, which is good.
Good
'cause
topic.
We've gotten some great insights. Any other questions, ahas, epiphanies that you guys want to share before we try and squeeze in 2 more in 20 minutes? Holly.
Try to make it fast, but I will say, I wonder, Linda mentioned something about, you know, when women fight, it's all about reputation destroying stuff like that. I do wonder how much the threat of the details matters to women in their structure versus how much those details matter to men. The fact that they're getting divorced may be the only thing that the men care about. But if a woman says she had an affair, maybe she's going to be ostracized from her friend group for the next 50 years. So, you know, those details, but maybe it doesn't matter if her husband wasn't paying attention to her, or, you know, like there's just different layers of what her group might care about. So I never really thought about that before. But I thought that was an interesting point.
Yeah. Linda.
Well, you know, part of the reason the details matter is, it'll say in the same scenario, it's Sunday and everybody's at church. The woman needs to know how to respond to the other woman in this divorce. So if the other woman, you know, was a floozy or lost her head or whatever it was, and it was, you know, all her fault, the other women are going to ostracize her. They're not going to have anything to do with her. So they're going to want to have that information coming in so they know how to handle the situation when they come face to face with her. Alternately, if he, you know, grew a wild hair and ran into whoever from grade school and just went bananas in Zoom, they're going to want to set up an entire support system for the ex-wife, right? So there, I mean, and that's just, you know, that's a very flat level description just to give you the idea that the social interactions among the women, it really matters who did what and when and how they did it, because it affects the way the whole social structure is built around that one particular person. Now with the guys, they don't care. I don't care what you did. I don't care what she did. Whatever. Let's go have a beer. Right?
Oh.
But women keep score. Women keep very detailed, very intricate score, and they don't forget. So what I'm saying is, there's a really good reason in a situation like that the women are going to really want all the details, who said what to who and why, and the tone of voice and the whole thing, because what they're doing is they're passing judgment and they're going to act on it. So I'm just, all right. That's it. Fair warning.
This is why it's a great topic for this platform, because I'm sure there's men and women out there that may have gotten a little insight. Hopefully, now we've opened up more insight or cleared things up, or if we muddied things up, reach out to one of us, because we will help you as much as we can. But it all boils back down to what? Understanding communication. And realizing that we don't communicate all the same. It's why I push so hard on getting really good at the trifecta. Echo talk, 3 magic questions, values and criteria elicitation. The better you get at that, it's not only to benefit talking to a stranger on the street, but it also helps at home big time. I know. So, anything else before we roll into the next subject? No? Well, the next one, off the hook, from another Instagram reel that I saw. And this one I thought was rather interesting, about protecting yourself. It kind of lines up with the topic we had, it's been probably 6 months ago or something, I called it protective empathy. But it's the concept of letting people off the hook, because their intentions, their energies, their issues aren't yours. If somebody was angry at you or mean to you or whatever, you can decide to take that on and let it ruin your day, do a bunch of mind reading about why they did this atrocious thing to you and all the above. Or you could simply let them off the hook, realizing that that's on them. Whatever they're going through that made them decide that it was appropriate to treat you the way they did is on them. I don't think there's a single person on this call that can say that they've never had a bad day. And the opposite, I'm pretty sure there's none of us here that can say we've never had a good day. Which means in those two extremes, we're going to treat people quite differently. As such, that means we have the opportunity of people treating us very differently, simply on their environment, their mindset, their SRUs, their all the above. And we don't have to this is one of those areas, we don't have to get the details. You can let them off the hook. And if they decide that they need to do this on the regular, we have the option of deciding how much we want to be in their environment. Regardless of how long we've known them or how we know them. just because they're family does not require you to get in the boxing ring with them on the regular. And a scorpion will do what a scorpion will do. Now, for those of you who have no idea what I was just talking about, and they're like, we went from people to insects? What? If you're not sure what I mean, give me a call. You got a free 30-minute consultation. I'll explain it to you. But the easiest way to say it is some people can only do what they can do. There are some people that are just angry at the world because the world exists. And if you're part of the world, they will let you know that you have offended them because you're breathing the same air that they are. And you can decide how much you're going to allow that to affect your day. Lenora.
So there was something that was very hard. I actually wrote in the chat that this was a very hard lesson to learn, but also a relief once I understood it. When letting people off the hook and recognizing they are who they are, it's almost that you have to take a pause and recognize that the relationship that you thought you were going to have with this person is not going to occur. And that was something that you almost, and the person or the people that I've recognized that with, it was almost a period where I mourned it, whereas it's not going to be that. And that's something that I had to come to terms with. But I think it was also very much a relief. And it was as if you're racing, you're trying so hard, and you finally go, oh, I didn't even have to be doing that. And it just had a different insight. I don't know if that metaphor makes great sense, but if the relationship isn't working out the way that you want, perhaps separating your idea and letting go of the idea that this relationship has to look like this. It doesn't have to look like that. It can look like this, and you can find ways to be peaceful in this relationship and find ways to fill that void for that relationship.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Great insight. Thank you for sharing that. And one of my other clients, we were discussing this concept today, and they have a partner who still is dealing with some anger management challenges, we're going to call it. And in the past, they would have taken it on, taken that energy on, and now they're like, when they do that, I just separate myself from them. Not my issue, not my energy. And a couple of times the partners come out like, what are you doing sitting out here? Just letting you enjoy your little whatever you're doing. When you're done with it, let me know. But this is not about me, and I'm not taking it on. I don't deserve it. And in the short time that they've been doing that, wouldn't you know, those anger management challenges have started to become fewer and farther between, because they're no longer accepting it. They're no longer trying to control it. They're like, you're off the hook. You do you, I'm going to do me. I am the most important. I love myself more than anything on this planet, and that's not egotistical, that's needed. Because the person that you have to spend your whole life with, like your whole life, is you. Lenora.
Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. Okay. So I think Holly might relate to this, and perhaps Linda, I don't know. I happen to be very empathic, and I can take on people's stuff like a rock star. I am super, super good at it. And which is why, especially in Triple T, I ask how you guys protect yourself, how you really manage your own energy. And it's something that I've had to fine tune, and I continue to fine tune because I need to be able to do that. And I was in with somebody the other day, and they started talking, and I literally felt it go up my chest and go, two things happened. One goes, oh my God, I have to solve it. And the other one goes, wait, this isn't even mine. And I had to quite literally step away and take a breath, because that's how rapidly it came on. And there are times where we can really take on other people's energy, and it's important to be aware of, because knowing that and quite literally having that awareness to distance yourself from that, whether you go outside and sit outside and say, okay, I'm going to wait till you're done, or just recognize I can support this person. I don't have to solve their problem. I'm not the solution that they need. And no matter what I say, it's not going to resolve it immediately. So I need to separate it out and just quite literally take a step back. So in case anybody else has ever experienced that, try to notice it when it happens, and you'll quite literally go, I've had this feeling before. This is a terrible feeling. What is going on here? And it's kind of like an out-of-body situation, but super helpful.
Yes, it is very, very helpful. Holly.
So many thoughts going through my head, as usual. So first of all, I would say, so letting it go is definitely important, but I think we're kind of dancing around it. I think it's implicitly been said, but knowing when to have healthy boundaries with people is the bottom line. If this person treated me inappropriately, am I just going to let it go and say they were probably having a bad day, but they're still in my life? Or this person crossed a line and they've crossed so many lines at this point, or this particular line is so big, they're cut out of my life now, or they have to go to a different set of my life. So a couple things I'd say is, first of all, it's important to know what are your non-negotiables before you get into these situations. Because, and I think there's two, especially, there's probably others, but there's two mistakes a lot of people make, myself included. One is the sunk cost argument, which I think TJ alluded to, of I've invested 15 years with this person. I can't just cut off relations, no matter how much they abuse me in those moments, whatever it is. No, I've invested 15 years. We have kids together. We've invested, we have finances tied up together. We went to elementary school together. We're family members, whatever it is. In accounting, one of the things they teach you over and over and over again is you never, ever, ever make a decision based on sunk costs. If an investment is a bad investment, you don't throw bad money after bad money. It doesn't matter if I spend $1 million on this project. If today I find out this is a bad project, you shut it down and you just, you eat the cost and take it as a learning lesson and move on. You don't dump another $1 million in just because you already dumped $1 million in. So that's one mistake people make. But the other one is, I think it's called the halo effect. Well, it's related to the halo effect. This idea of I've seen a couple of really good traits in this person that I don't see in many people. This person has XYZ traits. So when I see that they have one of my non-negotiables, I'm going to ignore it because I'm so happy that they have these unusual traits. And that's a common way for somebody to get in the clutches of a narcissist, a love bomber, a gaslighter. Because what happens is, right now he's abusing me. Right now he's cut me off from all my family members. But he treats me so well. That one day, he brought me flowers and he told me how much he adored me and, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And so because he has XYZ, I'm going to ignore A, B, and C. And so but if you know your non-negotiables going in of, I will not accept this level of abuse from somebody, then it's like, I don't care about XYZ. And you know what? I'm not going to fall in love with somebody's potential. I will always encourage somebody's potential, but whether it's a friend, a family member, whatever, You're my friend. I have to accept who you are today, not who you have the potential to be tomorrow. The relationship is based on who you are today. And I'm not going to expect you to be, because that's another problem too, is when we all have friends with human beings. They may have other priorities than you. They may even be working on growth, but because they don't, as soon as I want to be friends with you because I can see your potential. If they don't meet that potential, now you want to beat them up for not meeting that potential. Maybe they focused on different priorities. That's not okay because I'm only friends with you because I saw your potential in this area. So I think that once again, it's I am friends with flawed human beings. They may have their off day. I may let them go because they snapped at me because I have 5 years of proof that that's not their baseline. So if they snapped at me, I may not know the details, but they probably were having a crappy day. Maybe they were, feeling sick. We'll find out later, but I'm going to let it go versus this person snaps at me every single day. Okay. I don't want that energy in my life. If you know what your non-negotiables are, and then when it's the things that are not your non-negotiables, recognize that you are in relationships with flawed human beings and you've got to love them for where they are today, not where they have the potential to be tomorrow when they're perfect. But there is one other thing I'll throw in there. And this is if you are in, I think it's called triangulation. This is a manipulator will use this to cut people off from their friends and family. What they do is they stage manage things for you to see things in a way that they aren't. And so one of the other things I would say too is once you know somebody's nature, if you see somebody behaving in a way that is contrary to their nature in a big way, consider the possibility that you have a master manipulator in the lives of both of you, trying to break up your relationship because they're trying to isolate either you or the other person. So just because you think somebody did something mean, talk to them directly. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, if it's, a non-negotiable of you saw them murder somebody, there are levels of which there may not be very many chances for a good explanation. But maybe I'll pick on TJ for a minute. Sorry, TJ, but anybody who knows TJ, if somebody came to me and said, TJ got really mad at the manager of this hotel and overreacted and trashed his hotel room. I don't care how bad that person was. That's not how TJ would get even. So my first thought is, you're lying to me because that's just not who TJ is. So just using that as an example, if somebody is spreading rumors about somebody and you're buying into the story, it's so easy to buy into the story, but take that second step and saying, wait a minute, that's not who this person is, who might be manipulating me. And I know I've been going on for a while, but yeah.
Aw. I'm glad that you think I wouldn't trash a hotel because I had a bad day. I've thought about it. I wouldn't do it.
She didn't say a bad day. She said if somebody at the hotel treated you bad.
Yes.
Okay.
That one too.
And what I wanted to add on here quick, because we're going into your guys' hour, this is beyond just relationships. This is everything. If you've got a community where you live, you got a job that just is not supporting you or whatever, it's time to look and take inventory and let some of these things off the hook. And I like what, one of Jim Rohn's famous quotes is, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. Relationship, job, house, living quarters, all the above. If you're watching Triple T, you have a support system. Reach out to us. We'll help you because life is too short to be putting up with shice. And we didn't get to the third topic, but I'm gonna do a very quick Reader's Digest that'll tie right into all of this. And the topic is free will. And when this was brought up to me, it was interesting coming from a church background and hearing, that we were given free will, which is why we're so messed up. But the way I heard it this week, we were given free will to do anything. To fail, to succeed, to be happy, to be sad. We have the free will. So use your free will to make the best flippin' life possible. Let people off the hook. Learn better communication. Find better forms of income. Build a better tribe. You have the free will. If you need help, we're here for you. So there's free will and a ding bing. And now it's time to move on to hour number 2. If this is your first time watching Triple T the way we do it, first hour I've got some subjects. We try to get through all 3 of them. Barely did it. Second hour is open mic, open platform. So hopefully you veterans have your questions and topics ready. What do we got to start off hour number 2? And by the way, when these are brought up, I always try to answer last because I like to learn as well. So who's got a question for Holly?
Well, I know I've been talking a lot, but I'd love to get people's feedback on a few things. So my first question would be, I've been thinking a lot about, a lot of times when we talk about manifestation, energy work, it seems to be all about, making everything kind of storybook beautiful, that sort of thing, very low level. But this last week, I've been thinking a lot about using energy work and healing to basically break free the stuff that needs to break free, and how sometimes that may not be quite so pretty. And that might even manifest, maybe the bad things before the good things come in, so to speak. And I was just kind of curious, how do each of you, if you even do it, how much time do each of you kind of spend between focusing on getting rid of the nasty stuff versus trying to attract the nice stuff? And how do you stay sane, stable, keep your state, whatever, while you're going through those changes?
Good question. So who's got an answer for Ms. Holly? Come on. Michael.
Basically, it ties into lessons. And when you're dealing with negative energy and things like that, you've got to control your state, like you're talking about. If I understand your question correctly, are you trying to ask how you deal with the bad, or how do you avoid the bad and you find more good? What exactly are you looking for?
I'd say more how to deal with the bad, and then also knowing how far to push yourself.
Okay, well, there's different forms of bad also. So like, if you want to go metaphysical, if you're in a situation and you're feeling bad vibes or things are coming towards you, in a situation like that, as you know, you have an aura, you've got energy to protect you. You can embrace the good, take what you can from the good, and deflect the rest into the sky and into the earth and ground it and let it go. That's a real simple diffuser of negative energy. As far as trying to avoid the negative and have more positive things, we're all given lessons. And we do a soul contract basically when we come into this life, and we've got our lessons that we're going to learn. And we can have our lessons either come very painfully, or we can have them come gently. And before I go into a situation, personally me, I ground myself, I connect, and I ask for my lessons to be brought gently for my highest and best good, and allow me to help whoever I'm going to help in that situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Great answer. Mark.
I have two questions. First one, I've been, knowing Holly for a while, and the first question is, Holly, yeah, you talk about doing accounting. I'm like, why aren't you doing this full time? Because you're so good at it. The energy work, like I said, your perspective. I mean, there's so many people that you could be helping if you just, I know you have to do it in your own time, but really good at this, so, the second question was, again, it's something Dr. David said a while back when I was in class. You attract who you are. Okay. So when you want to attract positive outcomes, if you do the self work, you're going to attract those things. You're going to, they knock all the barriers down, um, you know, um, and, because you'll manifest more. And I guess that's not as nothing specific, but that's, kind of the mindset you have to have. That's it.
Cool. Good answer. Thanks for sharing. Lenora.
Hi. So the way that I heard this, especially when we have the wonderful ability to do the best that we can to be the driver and the passenger at the same time. So we'll oftentimes go in to try and do our own clearing work. And I have found a variety of things. And for me, it's different for a woman. It depends on where you are. And there are times where I will do my best to lean in. And in leaning in, that includes anything from crying to being angry to finding ways to let it out and let it process. It rides itself out. I know sometimes for me, the ride can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 to 3 days, depending on what it is. And if it's still not moving, I'm still going in there. I'm still going out and figuring out why isn't it moving and what else is there. And then there's other times where, depending on where I think I've gotten over it, and then it comes up in conversation and people will point it out, and then it gets all activated all over again, depending on, TJ has beautifully executed gremlins from my head a number of times, and it does take certain people to help keep moving. It goes in waves, and sometimes those waves you might have a lit up week and you are just feeling great and you're like, wow, what was I ever worried about? And then the next week you might be a puddle of tears. I just keep going, and the thing that is very helpful for me is to write it down, but to also write down not only the topic, what I was doing, because then I can kind of pinpoint it. Was it something physical that I was going through, or was it something emotional? Was there something else going on in my life that made it feel way worse, or that helped me feel really balanced? I write down when I feel really good, and I write down what I'm doing and what's going on in my life because I want to replicate that. And I also want to write it down because what helped me and how do I navigate out of it? My thoughts.
Great answers. Elijah.
Morning.
Good morning from across the pond, my friend.
Hi, Holly. I'm going to preface this with saying every single person I've ever told this answer to did not like it. Okay? They think I'm oversimplifying things. They seem to think that I'm brushing their pain away and making it feel insignificant, like it doesn't matter or something, but that's not what I'm doing at all. Please, please, I hope you guys have the ears to hear it. What would it be like if everything was already taken care of and you had reached a point where it had been taken care of for so long, and that this thing, whatever it is that you're dealing with, was so far behind you in the past that you had maybe even had days where you'd forgotten it even ever happened? What would that be like? Right? And here's the reason why I ask questions like that, is because you only have a certain amount of bandwidth in your conscious mind. You can only pay attention to so much and focus on so much. And where attention goes, energy flows. So what is it you're putting your attention on? If you think there's a monster that needs to be battled, you'll find one. Even if you thought you slayed all your demons already, if you're thinking, oh, maybe there's something I haven't cleared, let me just check, you'll find something new to clear. So where is your attention? If your attention is on all the good that's happening and what it's like now that you've moved past it, like I know it's hard to say that you've moved past it when you think you are where you are. But what if you just thought of yourself right now as having moved past it? What if you filled your attention and your brain and all your senses and everything you think about with all the other things that you're not currently thinking about because you're too busy being worried about having to deal with this thing, whatever it is? What's all the other stuff that you're not paying attention to right now that you could be, that would make your life better? I hope that makes the point. Like I said, a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people think it's kind of tough lovey or kind of dismissive. That's not my intention at all. I just want to say, there's only so much you can be aware of in any given moment. Why waste it on negative shit? Let's just be aware of the positive shit. Let's pay attention to the good stuff. And the more you do, the more you build the habit, and the less you'll just naturally forget about it. It's not a problem unless you are making it a problem. And I know it's a very different approach, but it works. It really does work. That's it.
Good. Great answer. Thank you for sharing that. Lenora.
Excellent answer. Definitely. Completely agree with TJ. Elijah. That was an awesome, awesome question. Can you even, side note, can you go ahead and write that in the chat out of curiosity? Wanting to add to that. So there are times where I agree that can be a very helpful perspective. When I'm in a moment or in a memory and there's a part and they're not happy, what helped me, and this came up last week, I think I even talked about it on Triple T in last week or last 2 weeks. Why are you choosing to believe that? Because now I have this part and she's crying and she's all over the place and I can't navigate her out. This was what somebody else in my subconscious came in and said, why are you choosing to buy into that? Why are you choosing to believe that? And that was one that really helped get perspective and go, oh, holy shit. Well, if it's not mine, I can give it back to you. That one was something that really helped. So it really depends on where you are, quite literally in your ability to have perspective. Are you in 3D, 4D, 5D? Where is your perspective? Because we can go up and down in all of these frequencies. And that's such a great thing because we are here and we have free will. And at the same time, you're like, I'm stuck here and I can't get out. That's something that has really helped. And also keeping track. I know you had a beautiful suggestion. Was it Fran also who had this suggestion? Keep track of the things that help you come out of those lower frequencies. what navigates you up and moving in the direction that you want. There you go. What state would you have to be in to make it absolutely impossible to continue feeling this way? Great questions. Really great questions.
Lots of good, amazing stuff on here. That's why we do this. It's also why I answer last, because I get to hear stuff like this before I bring in my two centavos. Because one of the things that popped up when Holly asked the question was when I was helping Dr. David with his classes, and we were doing gray room and some other cleaning protocols. And one of the students came in the next day and said, you know, I did all this gray room and cleaned up everything and all this negative stuff. And then this morning, when I went into gray room, there was more stuff there. When am I going to get it all? And David goes, never. It's like, what? As long as you're living, there's going to be stuff that will show up. That's why I always ask the question, you know, when somebody has something negative, I'm like, is it yours or is it somebody else's? Kind of like an energetic spider web that you walk through that you got stuck in. And getting good at cleaning that stuff out and using the great questions that Elijah brought up and things of that nature. It's not so much I have to go in because there's going to be bad stuff. It's more of like, you know, realizing that you need to shower every now and then because you're living. There's going to be some stuff that needs to be showered off. But if you do it enough and you do enough self-work, hopefully you've cleaned up enough of the demons, the big ones, to where a daily shower is fine. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Oh man, everybody's responses here. I told everybody's in my head. I hear, oh, that's exactly what I need to hear. Oh no, wait, that's also exactly what I needed to hear. So thank you, everybody who responded. Like I said, I feel like every one of you was in my head and knew exactly what I needed to hear. So thank you.
Well, that's a good answer. Which brings us to another conundrum. We need another question or topic. So who has something for the group now? And then there's that silence.
Nobody else has to bring something. I have my list. I could keep going down.
Good, please. That's why I tell everybody you got to have them written down so we don't have all this time waited on silence, because that was a great topic. So what do you got?
Another thing I've been contemplating a lot this week is the balance between learning to love what you have and learning to get what you want. I'm just kind of curious for everybody, what is your focus? How much of it is on, I'm going to change my life and I'm going to make it everything I want it to be, versus I'm going to look around at what I have and learn to be grateful for what I have and learn how beautiful it is, but I might not notice if I weren't taking the time to be grateful for it and to notice it.
Great question. I got an answer, but you guys get to go first. So who's got an answer for Holly? Come on. She got you stumped, or are you waiting for inspiration?
So I've popped in on the last second. Learn how to learn to be grateful for what we have and look forward to more.
How much time do you spend learning to love what you have versus so learning to live the life you have versus learning to create the life you love, so to speak. That balance of chasing, building the life that you want, also learning to love what you've been given.
I find that some of the things that I like to do is quite literally talk out loud to myself. And I will point out the things that I'm grateful for and the things that, I was able to pay for this because I take care of myself and because I am able to stay employed. I was able to do this because of that. So pointing out what I'm grateful for is very helpful, especially when it's a part of my home. Like, I'm grateful that I have the ability to clean my home. Some people might call me weird. I love laundry. I love laundry because I don't have to go down the block and I don't got to go beat it on a rock. It is right there in my house. I love doing laundry. I'm very grateful for the ability to stand there and do laundry. Also, I've also seen the extreme of working in the ICU, and I've seen people have that ability get taken away in one flash, and that helps me stay very present. I've also had that experience. So if somebody hasn't had that experience, it might be a little bit more difficult for them. When it comes to looking forward to more, it can't not happen. We can't be here and not have this expansion, this idea of thinking of more. And what I got really recently was really paying attention to my thoughts. And guys, if go back, I know Elijah has known me for a while, and Linda and TJ and Holly. I had such a banana peel of a problem with future pacing. It was a hot mess. Like, go look at some of the earlier ones and you'll hear me gabbing away about how I hate it. And just recently, I've listened to a lot of Bashar, and it's definitely helping me keep my vibration clear, but it's a frequency of noticing every thought that you're thinking is expanding and it has this vibration. So to stay in that wavelength of, I'm going to intentionally choose my thoughts and I'm going to intentionally notice when I'm worried. And if something's coming up, I will intentionally go after that worry rather than ignore it. And I will go to that voice. Okay, what are we worried about? What are we thinking about? And I will address it in that moment because it's coming up for a reason. And the more I try and stifle it, it just gets louder. So I will go after that. And then when I'm feeling better, I will come back and I will really focus on those thoughts. So I try to be very aware of when I'm in worry or when I'm in fear or when I'm having those emotions that I don't want to have, I go after them because they're trying to tell me something that I need, and they will not be quiet until they are addressed. That's just how this brain is operating lately.
Great answer. Anybody else? All right. Well, here's my metaphor. When you brought that up, the first thing the squirrels delivered was the concept of a buffet. The buffet is paid for. And you can look at what you've already put on your plate and be grateful for it because that's what you've got on your plate. But realize that you have access to the entire buffet. And you get to decide, yes, I'm grateful for what I've already gotten. And hopefully you've ended up with stuff that is nourishing and enjoyable. But you're still allowed to decide what you want more of or something new. One of the major ahas that Dr. David pointed out about manifesting is a lot of people are afraid of manifesting because, well, what if I ask for something and I get it and I don't like it? If you were able to manifest that, you're able to manifest something different. Ever gone through a buffet and grab something and you're like, ooh, looked good. Not exactly my palate. The buffet people don't stand there at your table and make you clean the plate before you go up and get something else. Part of it is learning. Now, if you go back up to the buffet and you grab the same thing that you just complained that tasted terrible, and now you've got 2 plates of it, that's kind of on you. But there's a lot of stuff available to you. Elijah.
If you're a genius, you can figure out what should be on the buffet that isn't, and then provide that.
Absolutely. Or at least where it's located. If you're asking for lobster, but you're standing at the bread part of the buffet, might want to look around. And Mike said, try something at the buffet to see if it's a good fit, something we want that isn't right for us. Yes. That's how you find out about stuff. I've watched people go into some of the most amazing buffets, and they will go for the same thing every time. And it sounds a little judgmental, and it is a little bit. Yes, if you like the chicken leg and the mashed potato and a little gravy and a bun every single time, that's fine. But if you're wanting something a little more, this is the place to try it out. You can go to KFC and order a number 3 and get the same thing, and it's probably cheaper. Yeah, I know, I saw that face. Me too. But if you're at the buffet, this is a good time to try something. Learn what else is out there. That's part of why I endorse travel so much. Get out. See other parts of the world. Experience things. Build memories. Live while you're alive.
That's kind of like the little meme that's out there with Charlie Brown talking to Snoopy, and they're sitting on a dock, and Charlie Brown looks over and says, "Man, something about, all of these lives." And Snoopy says, "No, man, you live once, or you live every day. You die once."
Yes. Yep. And yes, Elijah, there are people that actually order using the numbers. I'll have a number 7. Yes, that's what I order every time when I come in here. Number 7. And I'm the one ordering a surprise special. Because I like to be surprised. There's some, that's, I wonder what would happen if you asked the universe for the surprise special.
Kind of what I got first time round.
Yeah.
But I had no idea this is where I would end up at this point.
Trust me,
Right.
now that you answered it that way, yeah, I've the universe has given me the surprise special a number of times. Right, Mom? And I'm still here. There were some parts of the buffet I was like, that was awesome. There were a couple of parts of the buffet I'm like, yeah, I don't need that egg. Yeah, no, not my thing, not my jam. Mark.
When I was on my honeymoon in Ireland, we went to different B&Bs, and the Irish love fried eggs, and that's really not my cup of tea. And after about 3 or 4 days going to different B&Bs and always being served fried eggs, they said, you know what? I'm going to ask them, can I get those scrambled? They're like, oh, yes, no problem. You just had to ask. And sometimes you just have to ask. The rest of the trip, I asked for scrambled eggs, and I get scrambled eggs.
One of the other things I enjoyed about travel is trying the buffet in other countries. Not only to try food that I'm not going to find here in Texas, but for the comedy of the translations for us Americans as to what the food is. Because that's part of living as well. And I've tried things that Mom will tell you. When I've told her some of the stuff I've eaten, she's like, no, nope. Even my wife will not try cow tongue. But I tried it for the first time in France, and that was good. But we got to stay off the subject of food or I'll get hungry. So, did that help, Holly?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And you are right, Mike. Lingua makes amazing tacos. But this is where I'll also throw in my rule for food. And you can probably, I don't know if you can apply this to manifesting or not, but my rule for food is you have to try everything at least 3 times. Why 3 times? Because there are bad cooks and there are bad ingredients. And if you've tried it 3 times and it was not up to snuff all 3 times, you don't ever have to try it again, because there is so much amazing good food out there. But I love asking the picky eaters, well, what's your favorite food? And they're like, well, I don't know, pizza. I'm like, okay. Have you ever had a pizza that just wasn't that good? Maybe undercooked, maybe burned, maybe something. And Mike, there's actually thousands of ways to make squash. But if you had tried, if the first 3 times you had tried pizza, it had been bad, would it still be your favorite food? Of course not. And you'd be wondering, why in the world does everybody like pizza? The first couple of times I tried it, it was terrible. Bad cooks, bad ingredients. All of a sudden, that 3rd time, you get one of those pizzas that just changes your whole life. Okay, I like pizza. Yes, and there's Elijah. That's because you didn't fly to Sardinia to try pizza. That's because
Dude, there's this one place inside. Sorry, I'm so sorry to like
No, go ahead.
tangent, right? But I had this friend called Sergio from Sardinia, and we took a trip there. There was this one place. It was so small, you would consider it to be like a Ma and Pop cafe type. Like, it was so small. They had 96 different pizzas on their menu. Like, the variety was unreal. It was so crazy, man. Sorry, I
Well,
just had to throw it in. Good
I'd
memory.
have to go there every day for at least, 4 months. And I found out that making pisha on my Traeger grill, winning. Oh yeah. Yep.
What's a trader grill?
A wood pellet fired grill, smoker grill, pellet grill. Yeah. I even made chocolate chip cookies on it. Yep, that took it to another level. Now I'm getting really hungry. We've got so we got 22 minis to chit chat about other stuff. Lenora.
I'm going to piggyback off of Holly's question about manifestation. What are some of your favorite manifestation techniques? And I know for sure one is cycling, and I just haven't had the time to go back through it. I'm pretty sure I remember the majority of it. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Okay, guys, who's got an answer? Oh, hands are popping up like crazy. If you don't mind, Elijah, ladies first. Holly.
I'll try to make my fast. One that I just kind of stumbled across, and obviously image cycling is great. I like to call it the lawyer technique. I know this may sound kind of strange, but basically I bargain with the universe. I don't believe it's necessary. It's not for the universe's side. It's more for me to have that chance of, I guess this kind of piggybacks on my last question of, I might have a tendency to try to manifest the easy stuff, manifest the easy life. And sometimes I might manifest away life lessons. I might manifest away, because I'm looking for something small, I manifest away something large, if that makes sense. And so I kind of use it as that I explain why I think it would be a good idea for me to manifest this thing. And, what I've put out. And then I'll kind of ask, is there anything I haven't considered? And then, after that, I just usually throw it up there. I don't even have to use a technique. It usually manifests. But it's just a chance for me to kind of think through and say, hey, is this a wise thing for me to manifest, or am I doing it from a lower level, a lower frequency? Am I manifesting from a lower frequency of what's convenient, or am I manifesting from a higher frequency of trying to become the best person I can become?
Great answer. Elijah.
So, a little bit of an obvious one, but take action.
Yes.
Don't, like, if you just do the vision board and the image cycling and the imagining what it would be like if it was real or not, but then you do nothing, right?
Yes.
People seem to forget that the most important thing is to, first of all, figure out what you want. Secondly, write that shit down. Thirdly, make a plan of action. And fourth, grind every single day until you get it.
Yeah.
Or surpass it.
Awesome answer, because I've pointed that out to a number of my clients. It's like the person that, well, I've been trying to manifest winning the lottery for the last 10 years. Well, how often do you buy a ticket? No, I just want to win it. I don't want to buy a ticket. I just want to win the lottery. You might have to buy a ticket. Well, can't the universe just have one show up at my door? Yeah, but it's probably a little easier if you just go buy one. Just saying. Or, I really want to meet my person, and I've been writing down and manifesting everything, but I'll never leave my apartment. Well, does your person know where you live? Well, no, but they'll just show up magically. Well, and that's very possible. because the universe can do stuff like that. But on the other hand, it might help if you go out into the universe and allow the introduction to happen outside of your apartment.
Can I add also,
Please.
when I said make a plan of action and then grind, it's okay if your plan is not perfect. It's actually really good if your plan is incorrect and bad. And once you've figured out whether or not it's working, you can then change the plan. At least you know what doesn't work. And so you've eliminated that as a possibility. And now you can try something different. And you've already begun the process of narrowing it down to the path of success.
Absolutely. Jordan Peterson talked about that. He said if you got a couple of different options and you don't know which one to do one. Because in the process of at least doing one, you could get going, all of a sudden go, wait a minute, no, I need to be over there. But you would have never seen that perspective from where you were waffling and trying to figure out what to do. Mark.
Well, before I had my own office, I wanted to, have my own place, and like Elijah says, you want to send your intent out to the universe like every day. And I would imagine myself driving down the road, pulling into the driveway of my office, seeing my name up on the side of the building, feeling all the positive feelings of accomplishment. I did it. I got my own practice. I have my own business. And, even to the point where I would get out of the car and I would feel the crunch of the gravel under my feet. And, it didn't take that long for the universe, because it's always listening, to manifest that. I got a call one day from a couple of other colleagues, and they said, yeah, we're going to be renting this whole floor in this building, and we'd really like you to come on and share office space. And it felt like it came right out of the ether. So that's how I was able to manifest my first office. I'll have my sign on the building. It's still not as big as it was in my imagination, but it's there, So when you use your imagination in a positive way to manifest things, I think, you send out your intent to the universe, and the universe is always listening. And that's how I personally manifested my own office, my own practice.
Awesome. Okay, we got 14 minis left. Anybody else got anything they want to share on this answer, or do we have another question or topic that we could answer quickly, or go on? Holly.
I'll just kind of throw this. I think this goes for any manifestation technique. And I will say what Elijah said about taking action. That's absolutely number one. The kind of a distant, maybe 10th or something, is kind of the idea of, what am I looking for? It's not the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, but kind of recognizing that the specifics of what we manifest may not actually be what we want. And so I like to kind of throw in there, hey, like for instance, let's say I'm manifesting my person. I might also throw in there, and by the way, if the universe has something that it thinks is better, you have full permission to change what I'm manifesting right now. So I'm going to come up with the best goal that I think is the best goal. But yeah, I just always believe in adding that as an extra thing at the end, as a footnote at the end of, if the universe could see something better, please add that in.
Kind of like asking the person who owns the buffet, I like these kind of foods. Would this be good, or is there something else you'd recommend? Mark.
I don't know if we're done with this topic. I just had a question, but I don't want to stop the
Oh no.
flow. Well, again, it's I like to go down rabbit holes. This one doesn't seem that deep. So it shouldn't take that long, but I'd like everybody's opinion out. Can you learn, again, we try to gain life lessons, but question I had is, can you learn life lessons vicariously by other people's experiences? How
Ooh.
effective are those life lessons if they're not your life lesson? I'll just for an answer.
Good question. Who's got an answer for him? Holly.
I'll jump in. I 100% believe you can learn life lessons vicariously. In fact, I will even say sometimes it's the preferred method. And I think there's several different ways. So for those of you who know, Magic Circle, DTI, whatever you want to call it, that technique that David Snyder teaches, I don't know where he got it from. I used to know, but I'm not thinking of it at the moment. That's a chance to pull up someone's avatar, step into them, and learn learn whatever it is they learned almost instantaneously. Now, obviously, that technique works best if you know a lot more about the person, the more you've done the research, the more you've... And I think there's also a humility aspect to this, that if we go into it thinking we already know everything, we're not going to pay attention to the details of what the other person learned. But I can't tell you how many times I've heard a powerful story, and just listening to the story, I know I've been fundamentally changed to become a different person. So I'll let Elijah jump in here for what looks to be really great. But yes, 100%, we definitely can. And I think often the universe gives us the opportunity to learn it first before it has to, as a secondary thing, make us go through it. With an occasional exception of, in order to have true empathy and we're really going to help somebody out, maybe we need to experience it firsthand. Just to have true empathy. I don't know. But I think 99 times out of 100, we can definitely learn it vicariously.
Anybody else got an answer? Great answer, by the way, Holly.
I think yes. I'm pretty sure my brother learned not to touch a hot stove because I burned my hand.
Yep.
I think yes, we do. Even if we don't realize it. I think part of the challenge is to block out some of the learning, because sometimes someone might fail or do something incorrectly or not, you know what I mean? And you might take that as an opportunity in your subconscious to not even try, or to mix it up or change things around and try to, you know what I mean? Like, you saw them fail, so you thought it wasn't possible. Maybe it is possible, just they had the wrong approach and you need to try something different. It depends really on the situation and the context. I think we're a little bit lacking in context with this question. It's very broad. If we're talking about just, lessons and learnings, then yeah, we can. But if those lessons and learnings that we learn somehow are stopping you from getting what you want, then I would take a closer look and maybe reevaluate and see if you could do something a little bit different and surpass your predecessors.
Great answer. Holly.
I know I keep jumping in, but something that Elijah's comment made me think of too is that even ourselves, even when it's us, it was a different person usually. And I think everything Elijah just said
Yes.
could apply to who we were yesterday too.
Yep. Which is right where I was going. I always say that the three most expensive words that cost us when we have the opportunity to learn is, I know that. Yeah, you may have been taught this 12 times, but you are not the same person today as you were the first time you learned it, or the second, or the 8th, or the 12th. You've lived, you've grown, you've experienced, and this might be the time where you hear it differently. Same words, Same lesson. It could even be a recording. Yes, I've heard this recording of this class 12 times. But because of what you've experienced and who you've become in between number 11 and number 12 and today, there may be something in there that just you didn't catch, or it just strikes you differently, or accumulation of all the other things you've learned all comes together and boom, all of a sudden the matrix, and that's where I've seen it a number of times where, you know, people are like, oh, I've heard this before. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, that makes total sense now. Holy cow. Michael.
It goes hand in hand. When you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotten. As soon as you know everything, you fall off the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Off the tree, and keep growing.
You want to repeat that again? I think somebody just had an epiphany.
Said when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotten. And when you're fall off the tree, and we don't want to fall off the tree anytime soon.
Great answer. Holly.
I know I keep diving in, but this is making me think too a little bit about what Jordan Peterson talks about a lot between order and chaos. And one of the things it kind of talks about is the wisdom of what came before. And so if you completely dismiss the wisdom of everything, you know, other people have worked, they found a lot of ways that didn't work, they found a lot of ways that did work. There's value in that. Yep. But at the same time, if you get so caught, so if you dismiss that completely, you're missing out on a lot of valuable information. But at the same time, if you buy into it so strongly that you never try anything outside, you never are willing to step into that chaos, you will never ever, sorry, it's loud out there, you will never ever create anything new. So a lot of the value, a lot of the amazing things happen when you're willing to question the conventional wisdom. You're willing to go outside what has happened before. But the best place to be is in between, balancing both of them and looking both at what hasn't been done, but also what has been done, and giving that balance.
Absolutely. Great answer. Michael.
Holly, I'm going to bounce back with another meme I just saw today and said, trust the science. And that goes against what science is. Science, you're supposed to question. Always question. So anyway, you brought up questions, so keep questioning.
Yeah. Have curiosity like a child. Always. Mark.
Well, thank you for those answers. Going in with what Mike said, back in the 1800s, a guy by the name of Hoyle, wrote down a bunch of rules for card games, and the dedication of his book is trust everyone at the card. Again, you have to test out different ways and things, but yeah, his like I said, but I think we can learn a lot. I think that's one of the reasons why we do what we do, is we can learn from others' stories of their life lessons, and some of the most powerful stories I tell to clients were other people's stories.
Yep. Great. And it's a great skill. Storytelling is another amazing skill of communication. We got 3 minis left on this. Anybody else got any? Oh, Elijah had a comment that, yes, a true master is forever a student. And the self is only a threshold, a door, a becoming between two multiplicities. Yes. But I absolutely love the true master is always a student. There's always something else to learn. Doesn't take much knowledge to learn how to push up daisies 6 foot under. So until then, people that know me, I'm always asking what, how, where, why. Want to learn new stuff, try new things.
And with high-speed internet in the palm of your hand, in your pocket,
Right?
like, you know, I tried to explain once to my grandfather that my phone was an entire library that I could fit in my pocket, and he said, "Why would you want all that?" So it's funny because I kind of see it his way too, that there is some sort of blessing, if you like, with the simple life, right? And not over clouding your mind with so many questions and some. But if you're wondering, why not? And if you want peace and quiet, then you always have airplane mode, right?
It was interesting when I had my maintenance company, and people were so amazed that I could come and fix appliances and this and that, and I was like, well, I've got a basic understanding of mechanicals, but I have access to the internet. And that combination allows me to repair a lot of things.
Absolutely. I mean, when you call tech support and they put you on hold, do you really think they're not Googling it right now? That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Yep, and then read the script. All right, kids, we made it all the way up to the top of the second hour. Time to close down yet another Triple T, number 129. This just keeps blowing my mind. You guys, thank you so much for your support. It really hit me last week. I wanted to share that even when I was out of the country on vacay, didn't have decent enough signal, the tribe rallied, showed up, and made number 128 happen. That's why Mark gets to wear a tiara, because he's part of the tribe and we just accept him that way because that's who we are.
Embracing my feminine energy.
Whee! And I also get the privilege of thanking you guys, as I always do, for offering up your very precious commodity of time, because it's the one thing that I have not yet learned how to reproduce. You'll know as soon as I do, because I'll be handing you guys as much as possible. But until then, thank you for bringing it here and offering it up on this platform. I don't have the proper vocabulary to tell you guys how much you mean to me every week. So until then, for those of you on YouTube, love you, Mom. Good night. Make sure you click the subscribe, ring the bell, leave comments, and go out in the world, live an amazing life, be nice to people, and take care.
Thanks,
Thank
TJ.
you. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
They all.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Great one, TJ.
Thank you.